in looking over this past year, it's been a year that's had its high points and low points, and of course, we're in a world now where everybody and his brother's Facebooking and social media and this board and that board and so forth. And there have been a number of little social conflagrations over one issue or another. In order to get rid of the elephants in the room, I wanted to just get EA's overview of some of the issues that were raised over the last year, things that people are either griping about or not griping about, as the case may be, and just get the EA perspective on things. Well, first of all, let's take the AirVenture Cup race. Boy, there are more rumors floating around there than you can shake a stick at. And what's the old line? The only good rumor is one that pays rent. But if you could give us an overview of what occurred and what EA's real involvement was in that whole situation.
Well, the AirVenture Cup race, first of all, talk about a passionate group of people, a passionate group of aviators. You know, the AirVenture Cup racers are relatively small in number, but they are committed to success of aviation. They're committed to their love of air racing, whatever the flavor of aircraft you might own or choose to participate in. And there was a situation here where we have to acknowledge what I would consider to be a great low point, and that is the accident at Reno last year was a tragic moment. But it was also a watershed moment for aviation, and it will be impactful in aviation in ways that not every aviator will understand yet. One of the areas that it's hugely impactful is in the insurance and underwriting arenas. So you can only imagine when you have an event the scope and scale of the world's largest aviation event, AirVenture, you can only imagine the insurance premiums, the liability implications, and the risk management involved in that kind of activity. So if you take a look at anything that looks like adding to that risk, and if you're the underwriter community, you want to make sure that there's adequate financial compensation for that, and you want to make sure that you're doing the best, or your customer, I should say, us in this case, doing the best that they can to mitigate those risks to maximize safety. The AirVenture Cup race is a phenomenal thing. It really terminates here in their destination point of AirVenture. We love the people, we love the activity, it's terrific. And I think you know that I'm a fan of racing. I like air racing. I love it. But I can also tell you that there are some financial implications that involve risk that have to be managed a certain way. And in that particular case, I think some of the folks that were involved don't necessarily understand what those liability and those risk limitations and implications are very well. But we love AirVenture Cup. We love the people involved in it. We love air racing, obviously. And we hope that it continues for a long time.
Segue real quick. It wasn't on the list, but I got to ask anyway. How'd you like rookie school?
I'm really surprised that you know about that, or a lot of people know about that. I will tell you about rookie school, you know, and I will say this: I am a grassroots pilot, and the first couple of days of rookie school were at about the outer limits of my piloting skill. I will assure you of that. Yes, sir. But thanks to the capability and the competence of the instructors that were with me in the airplane, we all made it through safely and had a great time. It is a great experience. I can tell you it's not for everybody, but it was a truly magnificent experience, something I encourage everybody to try at least once in their life.
Excellent. There's been some questions about how EA values the elder relationships it's had with a number of organizations. This year there was some controversies over the loss of the Flying Chalet and Hospitality Center. The loss of Canon is a very visible presence here on the field. Does EA value these relationships, and are these kind of losses any indication of where EA is going to be going in the future in regards to these long-term relationships with, you know, obviously companies that have had some serious contributions to this community?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, we hugely value long-term relationships. You know, aviation is an industry where long-term relationships are a critical part of what makes it work. Relationships of all type, long-term, medium-term, short-term, are incredibly important to EAA. We've demonstrated over the years that we really do respect our legacy and we value where we've come from. We're a grassroots organization, and we haven't grown and succeeded to the degree that we've grown and succeeded without help from everybody involved in aviation. Those are important things to always remember. But you use the word loss, which I'm a little surprised about sometimes. Change is hard for anybody, but when it comes to long-term relationships, one thing that we have to ensure is that they're fair and equitable, and sometimes those adjustments need to be made. But when we do business with people, we sometimes have to make sure that we recognize there's a strong obligation to one another to be fair and balanced and do business on behalf of not only our respective companies, whether it's us and flying or us and anybody else, but you have to do so on behalf of aviation. So our motives at EAA are always directed at how do we grow aviation? How do we make aviation better? How do we increase participation in aviation? So those are the overriding and overarching things that we have in our philosophy about doing business. We are a business, and one of the best ways to sustain our mission at EAA and deliver value to our members and what our members expect of us and expect us to do is to remain financially strong and financially stable. It's very important to make sure that our business interests are well looked after and to apply techniques that are well used and well known in the world that save money, drive cost out of an organization, increase the opportunity for revenues, to keep our members' dues low, to keep our members' mission intact. Those are the things that are important to us. So one thing that I'm not a fan of is I'm not a fan of wasting resources of any type, whether they're human resources or they're financial resources. So long answer, but we value very much our long-term relationships, but they've got to be equitable.
Aero-TV is brought to you by
Avidyne is the brand of choice for pilots who want innovative, easy-to-use avionics, and the new IFD 540 and 440 FMS GPS navcoms set a new standard for ease of use and simplicity. As plug-and-play replacements for legacy 530 and 430 series navigators, the hybrid touch user interface of the IFD 540 and IFD 440 makes it much easier to access the information you want while reducing head-down time, and making flying more enjoyable. Now you have a choice, and the choice is easy: Avidyne.